Okay, first the tools we're going to need is an 8mm socket for the airbag mount, a T30 for the hood release bracket mount, and a T15 for the air duct vent. Let's get going. We're going to swap out our cabin air filter in a 2020 Aston Martin Vantage. Okay, we've got T30s that are holding the bracket that the hood release and floor dome light is attached. There's two on each side. Okay, this one bolt that is, or one screw that's next to the bonnet release, hood release, you're gonna need to push the carpet in just a little bit to get to it. It's not that hard. Just push it in with one hand while you're using your socket to get the screw out. Okay, once we got that final screw out, we can move this bracket out of the way. Just be mindful of your wires that are attached to it. But there's plenty of slack to get that moved out of the way. And I neglected to get the duct screw out holding the duct work, so that's on me. That's a T15 single screw for that duct work. And once you got that screw out, you can detach the ductwork from that bracket and move that bracket out of the way. Doesn't need to be moved out of the way very much. Just kind of slip it back a little bit. And next we're going to get our airbag mount bolts out. That is an 8mm. It's one on each end, here and here, 8mm. And once you get the airbag bolts out, you can move that entire piece out of the way. There's enough slack in the airbag wiring to set it out of the way without unplugging it. I didn't want to have to deal with any error issues that might, error lights that might pop up. I didn't disconnect the battery before doing this. You don't have to disconnect the airbag. It will move out of the way, and there's plenty of slack in the cabling. Just be careful because it is bare aluminum, and you just don't want to rub the wires against it. We got that moved out of the way. Then we're going to get to the air duct, and it's made of a really soft, flexible foam. It will just tuck out of the way. Just slide it up underneath the front part of the dash there, and it will be out of the way enough to get to the air filter. And there's your air filter. Okay, you're going to see your air filter. You've got a plastic locking bracket on the very bottom of it, and it will slide out of the way to unlock it. You do have a metal tab on each end. You can reach up on the top side. We're looking at the bottom. If you put your finger around the top side of that little tab, you can just pop it out. It's just a little metal clip, and I'll show you what they look like here in the video. So the other one, it came out pretty easy, but you really don't need a pick or anything. Your finger should do. And once you get those little metal tabs out, the air filter will actually just pull straight out. Just pull it straight down towards the floorboard, and it will come out. So the man filter CUK 29005 is the part number I'm using. I got it off of eBay. You're going to get the new filter put back in. Slide the white retaining clip back in place. Then you'll need to get your metal tabs in place. They're really easy. Just start from the bottom and kind of roll your finger over it up towards the top of the. And once you got the metal tabs back on, this is what the little tab looks like. Once you have that, both tabs on each side put in place, you can slide the plastic retainer back into the locking point. And well, we can start our reassembly. Remember to pull your ductwork that you tucked out of the way, pull it back out. Get your airbag bracket reinstalled, 8mm bolts. We're going to do everything hand tight right now until we have everything assembled, then we'll go back and tighten. This is not a complicated job at all. I don't know what the dealership charges for it. I've heard some crazy prices, but it's really not that hard. Okay, we got our airbag bracket up. Now we're going to get our bracket that holds the hood release. And I ended up taking the dome light out. I noticed that the wiring for the dome light was real close to being pinched with that bracket when I was putting it back in place. So I removed the dome light. Maybe you should do that as a first step in this. Didn't need to get it out of the way, but I noticed when I was putting it back together, the mounting tab for that wire had came off of the bracket and the wiring was about to be pinched. So I noticed that, got it out of the way. We'll get the light put back on and get that mounting clip for that wiring, dome light wiring, floor light. Get it put back in. We'll get our screws started on the bracket. Okay, once we got those screws in for that bracket, we're going to reattach our dome light. And our dome light wire, I keep saying dome light, it's the floorboard light. Okay, now we're going to get our duct back in place. And if you'll notice, there are two holes on either side of the screw point for this ductwork. The ductwork has some little posts that need to go in those holes on either side of the screw. So you get that popped in, and you can get your screw put in right there and there where your little posts are at. Get those in, then your screw can go in. Okay, we're going to go back and recheck everything. Everything's only hand tight. So go back and just double check everything, make sure the wiring, everything is okay. Now we're going to go and we're going to tighten our screws and bolts. Push the carpet out of the way to get to that one next to the hood release. There's 4 of those screws, and then you have the two 8 millimeters on either side of the airbag. All right, once you get all those screws tightened, your airbag bolts tightened up, that will conclude your replacement for the cabin air filter on a 2020 Aston Martin Vantage.